welcome Anna Kelly, of course.
Thank you so much.
Deputy Press Secretary of the White House.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being here, but I want to ask you, how great is it being in this administration? You had the left that was constantly like, Donald Trump hates women. And what I see is a whole lot of very smart, competent women that he puts behind him. You've got Caroline Levitt, who's doing amazing things. You guys are like a powerhouse team just coming in here.
Yeah, we have the first female chief of staff ever in Susie Wiles. I think we have the most women on any cabinet. You have Brooke Rollins, you have Pam Bondi. There are so many strong women in this administration. You're exactly right. I mean, this president is also delivering results for women. He's protecting women's sports. He's lowering costs for families. Like, I don't know what people were talking about. I think they're totally delusional because he is incredibly pro-family, pro-women, and it's been really, really exciting to be a part of.
Just more fake news.
Yes,
I believe.
exactly.
Yeah. I just saw earlier that the administration has arrested a top MS-13 gang member now on the East Coast, I believe it was.
East Coast, one of the biggest leaders on the East Coast. Yep. Just 30 minutes from D.C., which is crazy. Yep.
What is crazy to me is that you have these rogue judges who are seeing all of these, I think the average American would call these a major win. We are eliminating illegal criminals from the streets of America.
Correct.
And instead of supporting President Trump, you have these rogue judges who are trying to actively keep these criminals here.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
It is insane. I mean, the president was given a mandate, obviously, to make America safe. And I think you're exactly right. It's common sense. Americans overwhelmingly do not want violent terrorist criminals in their communities, which is what Tren de Aragua are. I mean, we all remember during the campaign, they were actively taking over apartment complexes in Colorado.
We were told that wasn't happening.
Oh, but it was. Or we were told, it's just one apartment complex, and you had, now Vice President Vance saying, what do you mean? They're taking over apartment complexes. That's crazy. Yeah. And so American people don't want these violent criminals who are raping, murdering American citizens in their communities. It's common sense that people want safer communities and they don't want literal terrorists wreaking havoc in their neighborhoods. And so it's absolutely wild to me. You're exactly right. You have these activist judges. We had 15 injunctions in February alone. When you look back at the things Biden was doing and Obama was doing, and yet this wasn't happening. I mean, it's absolutely crazy the way that these judges are unelected, and they are just wanting to totally impede on the separation of powers and what President Trump was elected to do. It's absolutely wild, and it's totally unjust, and we're continuing to fight back on it every single day.
So you guys are prepared to take this issue to the Supreme Court?
Absolutely. Again, the president was elected by an overwhelming mandate. He was elected by the majority of Americans, and yet you have these activist judges. I mean, if they want to dictate policy, they should go run for office, but they are representatives of our judicial branch. We have separation of powers for a reason. The president is the only elected official in the entire country who is literally elected by a majority of Americans. He is doing what the American people elected him to do. If they want to run for office, they should go do that. But we will continue to fight back in the courts. We have better lawyers. We have an outstanding White House counsel's office who's prepared to take this fight.
Yeah, I love that. So we can expect the administration to just continue on, press on. You've got Border Czar Tom Homan. You've got DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who are just pressing on and saying, you know what, we're just going to continue to do the good work for the American people that they, again, voted Donald Trump in to do.
Right. And I mean, look at the border. Everything we've accomplished on the southern border. We basically, made drastic steps to secure the border in just a month. It's amazing how, with a stroke of a pen, President Biden really undid all of the progress that President Trump made in his first term, and now President Trump is taking decisive action. We have some of the lowest crossings we've ever seen in history. The results speak for themselves.
Isn't it? It's so funny, Anna, because, you had President Biden and border czar Kamala Harris, if you can even call her that.
Border czar.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And you had them constantly saying, but we just need Congress to pass something. But we just need Congress to pass something. And it turns out you actually can exercise your power as the commander-in-chief.
Correct. Yeah, it turns out that the president, the executive leader of the executive branch of government, can perform executive actions, which Joe Biden did. He, with the stroke of his pen, remember day one, he undid everything that President Trump did with the border wall, with everything he did for border security. On day one, he could have, in the last 4 years, and Kamala Harris certainly could have encouraged him to do that, to reverse all of those harmful executive actions that led to terrorists like those in Tren de Aragua coming into our communities, killing Americans. He absolutely could have addressed that, but he chose not to. He didn't take it seriously. And we saw the results of that horrific murder, rape of American citizens across this country. But you know what? You're exactly right. President Trump, day one, proved that we can secure the border. We can take executive action to make sure that Americans are safer.
How confident is the administration that Congress will do its part in codifying a lot of this? Because I know, my congressman back home in Texas is Representative Brandon Gill. He's a freshman. He's been just tremendous. And I know he's been calling a lot for a lot of these executive orders that have been so powerful and instrumental. We've got to do our part in Congress and codify some of this. Otherwise, the next radical leftist who gets into, the presidency is just going to undo all of the great progress that we've done.
Yeah, I think it's really extremely helpful. The president, as we know, he is the master of the art of the deal, right? Yes. He is a master deal maker. He has great relationships on the Hill. He has great relationships with Speaker Johnson and Senator Thune. He is really well respected on the Hill. And I think you also have members of Congress who were elected also to carry out this mandate. And, everyone on the Hill understands, again, the president is the only elected official in this country who is elected by the overwhelming majority of Americans. So I think they take that very seriously. And so the president is continuing to foster those relationships, and they see the seriousness of that too.
I just saw that President Trump announced a tariff. What is it? 25% on automakers imported. And at the same time that you saw that announcement, you saw a $20 billion investment that Hyundai decided to make in this country. And I would just ask, what would you say to the naysayers who immediately see a tariff and say tariffs don't work?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because as we know, there are a lot of car manufacturers, they'll assemble things in America. And while we want you to assemble things in America, but more importantly, we want the whole car. We want 100% of those cars made in America, because it's one thing to just assemble it. It's another thing to assemble it based on parts that come from China or Mexico or other places. So yes, we want 100% of those cars manufactured right here in the United States. We know we have the best workers. We know we have the best business environment because of this president. And like you said, automakers like Hyundai are responding, and I'll also add automakers like Stellantis. Even Volkswagen and other companies have announced that they're looking into this too. So I know there's a lot of talk about tariffs, but you're exactly right. The proof is in the pudding. It's working, and you're seeing automakers and other foreign business leaders recognizing that, number one, the president is creating an outstanding business environment for everybody across the world, and he's also really incentivizing those auto manufacturers and all manufacturers to make sure that those products are made right here at home.
Yeah, I love that. I watch President Trump and the differences that I feel like I see just as someone who watches him on TV, right? Yeah. I see the difference in him. And I just wonder if you could speak to what you guys see here on a daily basis. How is this President Trump different than first-term President Trump?
Yeah, I think it's really, he's having fun, right? Yeah. He's having fun.
It feels like it.
It is. I mean, I remember a few weeks ago, he's bringing the press in to sign these executive orders. Yeah. He's passing out the Trump was right about everything hats. He's having so much fun because, again, he knows that he was elected with an overwhelming mandate. And it's really fun for us as a team, too, to be part of that. So I think it's really exciting to be part of an administration where we're having fun. We know that the American people overwhelmingly support these policies. And so we're able to just win and drive the narrative every day. It's awesome.
It really does seem like this must be such a fun place to work.
It is, yeah.
All you guys are doing is winning.
Yeah, exactly. It's super fun. And like you said, to your point, we have Caroline Leavitt. We have just an awesome, really inspiring group of people to work with. And when the leadership comes from the top, he's doing, an amazing job. He's incredibly inspirational to all of us. He is the hardest working man in politics. Yeah. And that's really carried over to his role as commander-in-chief. So it's really, really awesome to be a part of.
What are your hours like?
Long.
Yeah. 24/7?
Yeah. Well, I know the president, of course, has a world famous work ethic, right? I mean, he doesn't sleep, so that means we don't sleep. And it's an honor, though. It's truly an honor to be, part of an administration that's delivering wins, like we said, every day on the behalf of the American people. And so we just follow the boss's lead. He's incredibly hardworking, and we're always on the clock, just trying to make sure that we are attentive and working on behalf of Americans.
You say, hey, if he's a grandfather and he can do it, we can too.
Exactly. exactly. Again, the leadership comes from the top. So it's incredibly inspirational. And so we just want to follow his lead and make sure we're doing everything we can.
It's much different when the president isn't going to sleep calling a lid at 4:30 in the afternoon after he eats his pudding.
And it's so funny because in our office, I don't know if you've ever been in our office, but the press are able to literally come in and they're just exhausted. You know, they're like, we're not used to actually having to work hard and do things. We're not used to having things to cover, you know, because we're used to going home at 3 o'clock.
Right.
I think it's a quite the change of pace for them to actually have something to cover. And I think there's even a part of them that kind of appreciates that they actually have something to do every day. But we're like, what do you mean? We're used to this. You know, this is the pace we're used to from this president. So it's fun.
I love it. So you watch the Democrats react to this, and it's very clear that they are scrambling for something to hang on to, right? There's just one last grasp at something. And it's been, to me, shocking. Now I got to say my bar for Democrats is low. So like I'm already starting at a low bar, okay? Right. But it really has been shocking to me to see what they've tried to grab onto, thinking that it would resonate with the American people. Like you have all the Doge stuff.
Yes.
And you have Chuck Schumer, you have, Jasmine Crockett, you have all of these Democrat lawmakers going out there and trying to hold press conferences explaining that they are so upset that President Trump is rooting out waste, fraud, and corruption in their tax money. And I'm like, so your play is to tell Americans that they should pay more in taxes?
Right.
Doesn't seem like a winning strategy.
Spend more of their tax dollars on waste, fraud, abuse across the executive branch. And you're exactly right. I think they can't make up their mind on what their message is. I guess, and by the way, I'll add, the Democrat Party has the lowest approval rating they've pretty much ever had. I want to say at least in several decades. President Trump is the most popular he has literally ever been at this point, 10 years in politics, right? So again, the proof is in the pudding. American people, it's common sense, overwhelmingly don't want to fund waste, fraud, and abuse. And so I think the Democrats can't make up their mind because they know that the president's agenda is overwhelmingly popular.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the way that they're reacting to this, and I'm like, if you guys keep this up, you're never going to win another election again.
So I hope they do.
Yeah.
Because they can't make up their mind. They can't decide who their leader is. They're putting Jasmine Crockett out there who is continuing to embarrass the whole of her party every single day. Yeah. So I think they have a massive messaging problem. They have a massive ideas problem because, yes, they're continuing to hit these policies that are overwhelmingly popular with the American people, but of course they have no solutions because their policies have proven themselves to be a disaster. So I think they have a lot of soul searching to do over the next 4 years.
Yeah, I completely agree. So tell me when I'm watching President Trump and Vice President Vance on television, say with the Zelensky visit, right? That was just, oh my gosh. If we have time, I want to ask you about that because that was amazing. But it feels like they really have it down. They've got this partnership going. It feels like Trump is giving him deference, right? It feels like he is very comfortable. There is an air of confidence that I never really saw with Vice President Pence. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. And I think you're right. They have a great relationship. The vice president is constantly out he's doing a lot of world leader visits. As you know, he's going to Greenland this week with his wife to do that visit. So I think President Trump really trusts him to really carry the torch of this administration. I think they have a great working relationship. He has his own background as a veteran, as a senator. So he really has kind of these areas of expertise that the president trusts and that he's able to lean on in some ways too. So I think that's extremely helpful to him.
One of the funniest things that I saw I want to touch on the Zelensky visit, was that Fox News came on and said, well, Zelensky's leaving, and we asked about what was happening to his lunch that was sitting in the hallway, and they said that the staffers were going to eat it. Did that actually happen?
It might have happened. So I was running around, so I didn't get to participate in that if it did happen.
You didn't get the lunch.
It's funny, no, but I see the lunch every day, and it always looks good, and I'm always very jealous. So if my colleagues got to eat it, I'm very jealous of that. But I was unfortunately not there, but it always looks very decadent and beautiful. So.
Oh, I watch that every time I watch it. I just die laughing because that is so funny. Yeah. And then what do you know? Zelensky came to the table.
Right. Right.
So, okay. So last question because I want to respect your time.
Oh, all good.
What is something that the American public they would be maybe surprised to hear about President Trump? What has it been like interacting with him? What is something that maybe people would be, I don't know, shocked to hear?
Well, I think, I don't know if your viewers would be shocked to hear this, but I think what, the mainstream media really fails to cover is, how compassionate he is and what a human he is and what a family man he is. I know we saw, Kai Trump speak at the Republican National Convention talking about what it's like to have the president as a grandfather and how attentive he is and how caring he is. And so I think, so much of what drives this president is he has such a love for this country. He has such a love for the American people. He has such a beautiful family. And so, I think that's severely undercovered, not by The Blaze, but certainly by other outlets. And so I think that's really such a big part of what drives him to want to work so hard on behalf of Americans.
It reminds me of the night of the RNC. You mentioned Kai Trump. You had his granddaughter, Kai Trump, come on stage. He had just gotten shot. The man was just shot in the head. He still had the ear bandage on. And the next day, you had Whoopi Goldberg on The View come out and say, I didn't like that they brought out Kai Trump because it made Donald Trump look human. She said it made him look human. And it's like, well, he is a human.
Right, exactly.
Of course it did, because he is one.
Right.
And the left so badly wants the American people to forget that.
Right.
To portray him as some monster.
Right.
When in reality, he's just a really good, decent man who loves his country is what it sure looks like to me.
Exactly. Yep.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you so much. I appreciate all that all of you guys are doing. I know that it's hard work. I'm glad that it's fun work, though.
Yeah.
And we are just, on behalf of my viewers, and I know the majority of the American people, we are just so proud of the work that you guys are doing, and we appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you to you guys as well for getting the real news out there. We know it's hard to find these days, so we really appreciate outlets like you guys who are really speaking the truth and sharing all of the good work that this president is doing.
Thank you so much. Of course, Anna Kelly, Deputy Press Secretary. Thank you.
Thank you.